Battle Brothers is a game that looks simple and quite honestly unappealing at first glance, but behind the facade lies a sadistic combination of Bannerlord's dynamic world map and the unforgiving nature of Darkest Dungeon. I came to this game expecting to build a legendary company from the ground up and lead my brothers to endless riches and glory. Instead, they gave my bros literal brain damage, endless suffering, and multiple wars that ravage his procedurally generated world that left me with as many tales as there are names in my obituary. Despite all that, this is a highly addictive tactical mercenary management RPG that I feel deserves more attention. So in this video, we are going to dive into everything this game has to offer, from the combat to the economics, all the way to your bros and the amount of content that you can experience. So without further ado, let's dive into Battle Brothers, a turn-based tactical RPG. To really understand what playing Battle Brothers is like, we'll have to start from the beginning. At the start of a campaign, you'll have the option to choose between multiple origins for your mercenary band. It could be as simple as starting with two other bros who have their own unique backstory, to being a lone knight who decided to try his hand at earning crowns as a sellsword. And then you have the more interesting origin stories, like becoming a barbarian to raid the southern villages, or starting a cult and needing to sacrifice your men at certain times in order to please an eldritch god who, in exchange, will grant its most loyal followers certain boons. Once you've selected your chosen origin based on what type of mercenary crew you want to assemble, you then get dropped into its vast procedurally generated world. That's right, unlike in Bannerlord where you go through the same map in every campaign, in Battle Brothers every run is different. You'll get whole new villages and towns, rivers, forests, and even random enemy camps. But now that you're here, what do? If you did the tutorial campaign, then you'll have a mini story to go through which guides you towards learning the basics of the game, but otherwise, you're free to do whatever you want. You can take on contracts from local villages, which ranges from escorting caravans, hunting brigands, bringing down local horrors, and all that fun mercenary stuff. You can even get enough renown to eventually work with the lords of various factions, or just be a trader and make your money that way. It's a pretty open sandbox experience. What makes Battle Brothers unique though are these dynamic events that will periodically pop up on your screen, which either pushes your story towards a goal that you can choose for yourself, or random events like this one that I got where one of my bros raises up a local village lady, which lifted up his mood stat to the maximum. Sometimes it can bite you in the ass though, like that one time my mercenary band ended up having an internal brawl, which left every single one of them with at least one injury. Now, combat is going to be the activity that you spend most of your time on in this game, but before I showcase that to you, I want to talk about bros. After all, this is a mercenary management game and you need bodies to fill your ranks. At the start of the game, for most of the origins, you're going to start with a group of pretty weak bros. They'd have basic equipment, mediocre stats, and most of these guys probably wouldn't live to see past day 50. In order to hire more bros, you would need to visit villages or towns, and hiring them requires crowns, the currency in this game. New bros sometimes have their own unique backstories, but they've all got varied backgrounds which will give them better chances at rolling higher stats. Some of the better backgrounds do require a substantial amount of money, so you start the game doing easy, low-paying contracts until you eventually expand your ranks, allowing you to tackle higher-paying jobs, getting you better bros, and getting them geared up. Unfortunately, that is not as easy as it seems. Battle Brothers is a brutal and cruel game. It also has a surprising amount of depth. It's not as simple as just picking the bro with the highest health or the highest damage. For example, each bro upon hiring will have a base health, fatigue, resolve, initiative, melee attack and defense, and range attack and defense stats. Some bros will even have stars on certain stats which dictate how talented they are, but depending on what the numbers actually look like on the stat themselves, may or may not mean that this is a potential endgame bro. And then there's the perk system. It's not super complicated, but it does allow you to build individual bros in certain ways to fit your playstyle or the roster that you ended up with. Building your bros alone is so versatile that it can be confusing and even intimidating to newer players, but veterans can absolutely utilize this progression system to beat incredibly hard fights in record time. Speaking of fights, let's talk about the combat system. Battle Brothers utilizes an octagonal tile-based turn-based combat system. You can engage in combat through various ways in the world map, and you can position your bros ahead of time. But once combat actually starts, oh boy, be prepared to die a lot. It might look simple just watching somebody play, but when you're actually the one holding the reins and leading the fight, you're taking account of a lot of things. Number one is positioning. You basically play this like a chess match, trying to put your bros in places they can succeed in and avoiding positions where they can be surrounded or take hits from multiple enemies. Aside from who can hit who, positioning can sometimes affect hit chance and even the morale of both your men and your enemies. Having too low of a morale may break your soldiers, leading to a snowball of people retreating and thus dying in the process. There's also terrain to account for, the type of enemies that you're fighting, and the type of equipment they bring. Certain weapons are effective against different types of equipment, and you want to learn along the way what type of arms you should bring depending on what type of enemy you're expecting to fight. If you don't, trust me, even the easiest difficulty will kick you in the ass. Early game fight starts off simple. You're mostly going to be fighting one-dimensional enemies whose strength lie in their numbers or level of equipment. But eventually, you start to encounter harder fights with interesting mechanics, requiring you to prepare ahead of time and adjust your strategies. Difficulty scales as days starts to pass, and there's also special events that are going to occur in your playthrough to make things a lot more interesting, which I will discuss in the next section. Combat in Battle Brothers can be very challenging, and failure is going to be a constant part of your journey. But once you understand it and you start to approach the end game with high level and well-geared bros, it's incredibly satisfying to win what were previously impossible battles. Let's move on to content. Before moving forward, I'd like to first thank the sponsor of this video, Gamivo.com. Gamivo is an online platform for gamers where you can get your favorite games, including Battle Brothers, at the best prices. They've got a huge selection of games for all the major platforms, and not only that, but they've kindly prepared a 5% discount code for the viewers of the channel. That's right, if you head to the link down below in the pinned comment or the description of this video, it'll direct you straight to their website. Pick any game you want, and on the checkout page, make sure to type in code Kaganath to take advantage of the 5% off. In addition, if you want to have exclusive daily or monthly discounts and VIP access to a 24/7 live chat with their support team, go ahead and sign up for Gamivo Smart. It comes with everything I mentioned, plus pre-order priority and a free customer protection program. All of that for only $1.08 a month. They're also verified in Trustpilot, having amazing reviews, so you know that your purchases are protected. So if you want to get your favorite games at discounted prices and support this channel at the same time, head on over there with the link down below and make sure not to miss out on the 5% discount with code Kaganath. Let's get back to the video. When I first started playing this game, about 5 hours in, there was that concern of things being repetitive. I mean, there's only so many contracts you can do before you start feeling bored and want to do something else. Thankfully, aside from those contracts and the various enemy camps that you can raid, Battle Brothers has something called crisis events, which are large-scale scenarios that you can pick at the beginning of a campaign that will start to occur around day 80 and beyond. These crisis events can range from invasions to all-out wars, even the Undead Rising, which when you're in the middle of it is a massive pain in the ass. You can choose to help the people fight back to end the crisis, or you can just go about your business and focus on making as many crowns as possible. Once you go through multiple crisis events and reach the true end game, there's even legendary locations that you can tackle, which are the most difficult content this game has to offer and requires a substantial amount of time spent leveling and gearing bros, a lot of preparation, and even then you might not succeed. These are the ultimate challenge, and you really would need to have a very solid crew and understanding of the game's mechanics before even thinking about tackling those. That being said, there is a hit or miss aspect to this game. Battle Brothers is the type of game where if it clicks with you, you might be looking at potentially an endless amount of content to do. It's pretty common to see players with hundreds and even thousands of hours just trying to make their bros as strong as possible or playing around with different scenarios. If it doesn't though, you might end up being bored by the time hour 3 rolls around. I suggest giving it a go first and see if the gameplay loop is something that appeals to you. If not, it's okay. Battle Brothers was not designed to be played by everyone. The last thing I want to talk about are the DLCs. If you enjoyed the base game, the available DLCs basically just expand on what's already there, adding new monsters and new events to spice things up even further. Each DLC adds new origins as well, but the best one in my opinion is the Blazing Deserts DLC, which adds a whole new desert region to the map, new cities, and gameplay features like the retinue system, allowing you to hire non-combat followers that enhance your gameplay in new and exciting ways. Of course, there's new monsters, weapons, and events as well, and a new arena to fulfill that gladiator fantasy. Though I wouldn't say these DLCs are required to fully enjoy the game, they do complement what's already there and may potentially add a couple hundred more hours to its already long lifespan. All in all, Battle Brothers is a game for a certain type of person. If you like a tactical challenge and learning about the complexity of building a massive roster of unique bros, then this one might be for you. If you're into role-playing and experimenting with various scenarios, this is also for you. If you're easily frustrated, however, and don't care about going through its decently long learning process wrought with failure and death, then maybe pass on this one since that is a part of its core gameplay loop. Hit that like and subscribe button if you want to see more, and also thank you to our Patreon supporters for supporting the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.